Greetings, fellas. Well, how's everyone doing today? What do we got here? Gotta fix this generator here. Pretty good size. It's heavy, this fucking thing. So, it runs and then it stops running, and I guessed it, what's wrong with it, and I think I'm right. See right over here, see this fuel line feels like it got fossilized. And right here it got pinched. See right there? The fuel line is actually pinched off right there. Fuel line should go over this, probably. Let's see what's happened there, but see it's down in between this air filter housing and there. I bet when, oh well, I don't know. I'm not going to make any bets. I'm just going to say that fuel line is pinched off, and this fuel line is fossilized. It's very hard and stiff, and I think because it was in there, it got pinched and it's hard, and now it's a restriction. So I'm just going to replace this line. I bet this thing's going to run like new. Alright, well, I'll look for a piece of hose. Might have one somewhere. See. Got in this fucking pile of crap. Oh, we got some paint. Yeah, we got some paint. Oh, fucker's heavy. Fucking get rid of this shit. Alright. You want to see inside the world's messiest toolbox? Well, you just look no further than here. Hey, got some batteries in here. Where the hell are these from? Oh no. Got some spark plugs. Hey, glasses too. Alright, so let's see. Here we go. Here's a piece of line. Look at that. I don't know if it's the right size, but this one's better than that one, so we got that. Alright, well, I'm going to turn this camera off for a little bit and get to some real work. Alright? Okay, bye. Alright, so now that we're looking at this, another thing I found right here, I didn't even do nothing to this thing yet besides look at it. See right here, this rod is not even attached to the throttle. See? This rod would be attached right here to open and close the throttle. The only way to attach it is you have to loosen the carburetor to put this rod on, because this has got to be spun over and twisted more for this to snap in where it goes. So I don't know how this got out of there. And then the spring attaches right on the end, so somehow that got taken off and not put back on. And now the fuel line, you know, I showed you before, it's getting pinched right there. Right there. It should be up above this little bracket, but it's below it. So we're going to take it apart, fix all that, see what happens. Alright. So we got the air cleaner and the filter off right there. We're going to take those two nuts off. And these two nuts are kind of loose. They hold the carburetor on. They're a little loose. And then there's one back there we got to take out. Alright, so I'll do that. Can't film at the same time, so we'll be back. Okay, we got the air cleaner assembly off right there. we got the carburetor loose. Show you this fuel line. This thing is stiff. Now right here is where it got pinched. That's enough to restrict the fuel flow right there. And because this line is hardened, it's definitely pinched it. Alright, so we're gonna replace that line. We're gonna attach the linkage, goes back on here. See the linkage, which is not attached. We're gonna put that back on. We'll be back shortly. Alright, so now we got the carburetor off. We took the fuel line off. Looks like it was really hard, this line. So here's the rod for the throttle. Alright, and you have to take the carburetor off, which is right here, to attach that rod back on it, which goes right in that hole. But you have to twist the carburetor around, take it off and twist it around to get that rod back in. So I'm going to put it in and I'll show you where it goes. Alright, so I attached the rod back to the carburetor. You see right there. Let's see if I can get in there and get a shot on that. Goes right down in that hole. So when this controls the throttle right there, opening and closes the throttle, just like that. And then I'll put the spring back on. Okay, so now we got the spring and the linkage attached back to the carburetor. Now we'll go and put the rest of it back together. And we're going to replace this fuel line right here. Okay, be right back. Alright, so now we got our new fuel line in place right there. Now we're going to bolt this all back together. See what happens. Alright, well, we got it all back together here. I'm going to turn the gas on right here. See if the carburetor starts leaking. Well, we'll let it sit a couple minutes. If we see no leaks, we're going to start it up. We'll try to anyway. Just want to show you one other thing here is when you run your fuel line, make sure it goes above this little tab on the air cleaner and not down through this little hole. It's going to get pinched where that was where it was running before. Now it's up here. Should be fine. Alright, so now we're checking for fuel flow and we have nothing. I took the bottom of the carburetor off. It's a little dirty in there. Okay. And I'm going to turn the fuel on. Alright, so the fuel's on. We got nothing coming out of there. There should be fuel dripping out of there. And what I can see is it looks like the float or the needle is stuck. The float moves up and down. I don't think that needle is stuck closed. So what we're going to do, we'll pull the air cleaner back off. We get some more room. We'll get in there, check it out, see what happens. Alright, we're getting further into this right here. You can see. Let me get this pointer. Right here is the float. It's hard to do this backwards. Alright, right in there is the needle and seat. And that baby is frozen solid. So, I'm going to pull the carb off really quick again. Only takes a minute. And we're going to try and free this up and clean it up. And get it working. Now, I looked at that other carburetor. Got a brand new carburetor in that box right there. But the choke linkage is a little different on that carb. So I don't know if that carb's going to work on here. But If we have a problem with this needle and seat, hopefully it's the same. We can take the part out of that other carb and put it in here, but we'll see if I can get this working. All right, so we'll be back. Well, what ended up happening is we put on the new carburetor. It runs with the new carburetor. That carb's a little different. The choke isn't hooked up, but it doesn't really matter because it's working. This wire here is probably for a different model. Goes to a solenoid on the bottom of the carb there. You don't need that. It works fine without it. And then here's the old carb right here. See the right there, the needle is frozen in there so bad I couldn't even get it to budge. It's just frozen, so you can't even take that whole seat out because it's pressed in there. So this carburetor is junk. And that's it. So the battery's dead. The electric start isn't working. That battery is fried. So we'll see what they want to do with that. All right, I'm out.